I hear it every single week, sometimes twice a day or more. Chris, my market is just too competitive. There's 14 dentists within like 5 miles of me. There's a corporate office on every corner. There's a guy across the street. There's a guy in the back alley. This market is just saturated. And every time I hear this, I just kind of want to reach through the phone and say or shake the same thing. No, it's not. In my opinion anyway, markets don't get saturated. Messaging gets saturated. Offers get saturated. But the market itself, there is always, and let me repeat this, always room for someone who shows up differently. Now, here's the truth nobody wants to hear. Saturation is not your problem. Sameness is. And today, I'm going to prove that to you. So let's get into it. Welcome back to the No BS Dental Growth Podcast. I am Chris Pistorius, founder and CEO of KickStart Dental Marketing, where we have spent, believe it or not, the last 17 years helping independent dentists and orthodontists grow their practices. No fluff, no vanity metrics here, no corporate nonsense. I'm just going to give it to you how it is. This show exists really for one reason, and that's to tell you the truth about growing a dental practice, even when the truth can be uncomfortable. And if you've watched some of my episodes, you know that that's exactly the case. Today's truth might be the most uncomfortable one yet because it puts the responsibility really back on you as the practice manager, the practice owner, whatever you may be. Kind of like if you've ever said these words, it's just too competitive here. This is just what it is, and that's the way it's going to be, and that's the way it's always going to be. Well, if you said that before, then this episode is totally for you. And stick around to the end because I'm going to give you a specific action item that you can do this week, today, if you want to find out whether your problem is your market or if it's your message. So let's start by taking this objection seriously for just a second because I don't want to dismiss it. When a dentist tells me their market is saturated, they're describing something real. They feel something, right? They open Google Maps, they type in dentist near me typically, and they see a wall of pins and places on a map. They see, all kinds of practices out there. And they drive to work. They go past 3 other practices. They see the corporate offices with billboards and these Super Bowl-sized ad budgets, or at least that's what they think. So the feeling is real, but really the conclusion is wrong. And here's why. You see, when you say my market is saturated, what you're actually saying is the number of providers has caught up to the number of patients. Let me say that again. What you're actually saying is the number of providers has caught up to the number of patients. And in almost every market I've looked in, it's been 17 years now, and I've looked at a bunch, it's just not the case. So think about the actual math for a second. The average American sees the dentist how often? The honest answer obviously is not enough, but depending on which study you look at, somewhere around a third of adults haven't seen a dentist in over a year. So in a town of, say, 50,000 people, that's more than 15,000 people who aren't going to anybody. Not you, not the corporate office, not the guy across the street or in the back alley. Nobody. That's not a saturated market. That's an undeserved market with a lot of providers fighting over the same slice of it. Now, here's the part that should really get your attention. The practices in your market that are growing, and there are always some, for sure, you've seen them, they're pulling from the same pool of patients you say doesn't exist. The same zip codes, the same demographics, the same insurance mix. So the patients are there. The demand is there. What's actually happening is this. Everyone in your market is saying the same thing to the same people in the same way. Gentle family dentistry. We treat you like family. Here's our new patient special. Exam, x-rays, and cleaning. That sound familiar at all? Of course it does. It's on every website, every postcard, every Google ad, all over the place in your market. And when everyone says the same thing, the patient has exactly one way left to choose: price or proximity. Whoever's cheapest or closest wins. That's not saturation, my friends. That's becoming a commodity. And you did it to yourself. That's the unfortunate truth. So let's redefine the problem correctly, because you can't fix a problem you've misdiagnosed. Markets don't saturate. Three things do. First, messaging saturates. The first practice in your town to say gentle, comfortable dentistry, that message worked. It was different. The 10th practice to say it, just like all the others, invisible. The message wore out, not the market. By the way, this is why ads phase out. Like, you can't just run the same paid ads all the time, right? It wears out. People are tired of seeing it. It's the same principle here. Patients literally cannot distinguish between you and the office down the street because you're saying the same damn things. And probably because you both hired the same website company, you use the same stock photos, and written the same paragraph about your dental implants or your caring team. Second, offers saturate. The $99 new patient special was a great offer in 2012. It really was. And you know what? It does still work today, but not nearly as well as it did. Now it's just table stakes. When every practice runs the same discount or something very similar, it stops becoming an offer and starts being a price war. And I've said this so many times before on this show and other places, the discount trap is a race to the bottom. There's always going to be somebody more desperate than you. And the corporate offices will always outrace you to the bottom because they have the margins to be able to survive down there. You probably don't. Third, channel saturate, sort of. Yes, Google ads cost more than they did 5 years ago. So does a gallon of milk and a candy bar and all that other stuff, right? And yes, everybody's on social media now. But here's the thing. Channels only feel saturated when your message is the same as everyone else's. A boring message needs cheap distribution to survive. A great message cuts through expensive channels just fine. Now, here's the principle I want you to write down, because this is the whole episode really in one sentence. 10 businesses can sell the exact same thing, and one of them still wins because they made people see it differently. That's it. That's the game. You're not competing on dentistry, and I know that stings, but it's true. The patient cannot evaluate your margins on a crown prep. They can't judge your bond strength. From the outside, every dentist looks equally qualified. You all have the degree on the wall. So what are you actually competing on? Your story, your angle, the specific new opportunity that only you offer, framed in a way that only you can frame it. The practice that wins in a saturated market isn't better at dentistry. Not at all. They're probably opposite. They're better at being seen as being different. Okay, so what does this showing up differently actually mean? Because I know some of you are hearing this and thinking, well, that's great, Chris, so I need a purple logo and a mascot out front spinning a sign. Not a bad idea, but no, differentiation is not decoration. It's positioning. Let me give you 3 levers here. Lever 1 is your story. Why does your practice exist? And I don't mean the paragraph on your about page that says you're passionate about smiles. I mean the real reason. Maybe you built your practice because you grew up terrified of the dentist and swore you'd build the office you wish you'd had as a kid. Maybe you're the 3rd generation dentist in your family and you've watched dentistry change for 50 years. Maybe you left a corporate office because you hated running patients through like a car wash. Whatever it is, that story is unclonable. The corporate office across the street cannot copy that. And patients don't bond with services, they bond with stories. You see, people buy from people, relationships. Now, lever number 2 is your angle. This is who you're for. And here's the uncomfortable part. Being for everyone is the same as being for no one. The practice that says we treat the whole family competes with everybody. The practice that says we specialize in patients who've avoided the dentist for 5+ years, no lectures, no judgment, just a fresh start, that practice competes with nobody. They created their own category, really. Same chairs, same procedures, completely different market position. And notice they did not shrink their market, they sharpened it. That fresh start message pulls from the giant pool of people I mentioned earlier, the ones who are not going to everyone. You're not stealing patients from competitors. You're activating patients your competitors can't and simply won't reach. Lever number 3 is your offer, the new opportunity. Not a discount. A discount says the same thing, less money. A new opportunity says this is something you couldn't get before. Package your implant consult with a 3D scan and a same-day plan and a financing conversation. That gives the whole experience a name. Build a membership plan for the uninsured families in your town and position it as dental care without the insurance games. Show a patient a simulation of their new smile before they commit to anything. The procedures underneath might be identical to what everyone else does, but the framing of it, the structure of it, the opportunity is yours alone. And people don't buy procedures, they buy outcomes framed as opportunities. The beautiful thing here is when you get all three of those things working together, a real story, a sharp angle, and an offer nobody else has named, something very interesting happens. Price vanishes. It stops being in the conversation. Nobody asks for the fresh start practice if they can match a $99 special because there's nothing to compare them with. That's what different buys you. You exit the comparison game completely. Now, before I give you this week's homework, and you know I love to do that, or I'll reframe it this time. Action item instead of homework. That sounds much better. I want you to run a quick test. I call it the mirror test, and it's brutal, but pull up your website. And then also pull up the websites of the three practices closest to you. I want you to cover up the logos, read the headlines, read the offers, read the about pages, skim through it. Can you tell which one is yours? Obviously you can because of, your colors and things like that. But you see what I'm saying here. And be honest about this, because in most markets I audit, the answer is no. Because same headline structure, same compassionate care language, same smiling stock photo family maybe. And if I shuffled the 4 sites and dealt them back out, the owner themselves couldn't reliably pick theirs, especially if I changed all the colors. Now, if that's you, and statistically it is, then you don't have a saturation problem. You have a sameness problem. And the good news about a sameness problem is that it's completely within your control. You can't add 20,000 people to your town, but you can change your message this month, this week even. Saturation is a story you tell yourself so the problem lives outside of your building. Sameness is the real problem, and it lives inside it. That should make you uncomfortable, but it should also make you optimistic because it's something you can fix, something that you own. All right, here's your homework. Action item. And I'm not letting you off the hook this week. I want you to sit down with your team and finish this sentence. We are the only practice in our market that blank. One sentence, and here are the rules. It can't be cares about patients or have the best technology. Everybody claims that. It can't be that CEREC machine or, whatever the newest piece of equipment you have is, because those can be bought. It has to be something a patient would actually repeat to a friend. And it has to be true, of course. If you can finish that sentence, congratulations. That's your new message. Put it at the top of your website, in your ads, in your front desk scripts, everywhere. If you can't finish it, then you've just diagnosed the real reason your growth has stalled. It was never the 14 other dentists. It was the fact that you're the same as everybody else. And now you know what to actually work on. One sentence this week, go. All right, that's the show. If today's episode hit a nerve, good. That's the point. The truth about growing a practice is usually uncomfortable, and the dentists who lean into that discomfort are the ones who win their markets, saturated or not. Now, if you got value out of this, do me a favor, please. Subscribe, leave a review, and send this episode to one practice owner who keeps telling you their market is too competitive. They need to hear it more than they want to hear it. And if you find out what showing up different would look like for your specific practice, head over to my website at kickstartdentalmarketing.com. Kickstartdental.com works as well. We work with independent dentists only, one practice per market, because we practice what we preach about exclusivity. I'm Chris Pistorius. This has been the No BS Dental Growth Podcast. Remember, your market's not full. It's just waiting for somebody different. It might as well be you. See you next week.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Dental Marketing Podcast. Make sure to visit our website, www.kickstartdental.com/podcast, where you can subscribe to the show in iTunes, Spotify, or via RSS, so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in the show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes. Or if you'd simply tell a friend about the show, that would help us out too. If you are ready to grow your practice, then you might want to schedule a free strategy session with us. Just go to kickstartdental.com and click the free strategy session button and give us 15 minutes of your time to change your practice forever. Be sure to tune in next week for our next episode. And thanks for listening to the Dental Marketing Podcast by KickStart Dental Marketing, where dentists go to win online.